right, everyone. Welcome back to the third episode of the definitive top 10 by Save Point Vids. Of course, I'm Josh. As always, I've got Sean and Chase here. So for those that might be joining us for the first time, just so you know, the definitive top 10, what we're doing is we decide to pick a topic on anything gaming related and create our own personal top 10 list. This list is not defined by its Metacritic score or cultural relevance. It's all about what it means to us personally. So it is very much a personal top 10 list. And then what we do is we actually, through a scoring system, will combine the three top 10 lists and then create the ultimate definitive top 10. This episode is going to be kind of a broad subject. If you didn't know, last week we did top 10 First-person shooters. The week before that, we did top 10 RPGs. Those are up on youtube.com/SavePointVids. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so. But today's episode is going to be the top 10 video game franchises. This is going to be a fun one. Obviously, if you've seen the other ones, you know there'll probably be a little bit of overlap. But I think there'll be some surprises on there also. So I just wanted to let you know that, again, check us out, youtube.com/SavePointVids. Hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, let somebody know about us. We would definitely appreciate it. And for those of you that have supported us so far, keep the comments coming in. We definitely appreciate it. I love seeing that stuff. But also let us know how we can improve. This, as much as we do it because we want to do this, this is ultimately for you guys to consume. So if you think it needs to be improved or changed somehow, I'm always open to constructive criticism. So let us know what you guys think. Drop a comment, tweet at us and, let us know. That's all I've got. Let's jump right in. How you guys doing today?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so I don't have any honorable mentions, but if you guys do, feel free. Yeah. Who wants to start us off?
I will, since Chase has like 14. So I was going to brush over these honorable mentions.
Yeah, not just talk about them, just throw the names out there.
Right. So honorable mention, Smash Brothers, Dark Souls, Mario, which... I kind of have to talk about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, so why is Mario...
Mario isn't in my top 10 either. It's in my honorable mentions, but...
Okay.
So what makes it... Yeah, the reason why did it miss the cut?
Is because I enjoy Mario games. Mm-hmm. I really like them.
They're really great games, but when a new Mario is announced, I'm never thinking to myself, like, man, I can't wait to play it. I have to get it.
Right.
Like,
that's fair.
It's never like a must buy. It's always like
day one type of
it's never been that kind of franchise for me.
I can see that.
So that's why I dismissed.
I made this point last week, and I'll say it again, that I think that if you palette swapped Mario out for some generic mascot platformer, that it wouldn't do or sell nearly as well. I think Nintendo, for as many great games as they make and they make and have a lot of great top tier franchises that are iconic, I think that they get a big pass when it comes to scoring. I really do. I really truly believe that they are graded and scored on a curve because they are Nintendo. And I don't know if that's just nostalgia or they've maybe earned that through
I think they've earned it
through the fact that we played these games since, the late 80s.
Because think about like what are considered like critically the top like greatest games of all time, and a lot of them are Nintendo. You got like Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, several of the Super Mario games can be made for that argument. Galaxy, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3.
You have Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, so there are a lot of. I mean, again, they make great games. I'm not disputing that, but I think that if it was any other publisher and if you palette swapped it out, those games would be in the low 90s, high 80s instead of like perfect scores. Yeah. That was it. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. My other honorable mentions is Civilization and Fable.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Civilization. That's good.
That's like a super time-consuming franchise.
It really.
You gotta think
it's so good though.
All right, my honorable mentions are Mario Kart.
Okay.
Halo.
I forgot to put Mario Kart on. I love Mario Kart.
Mario, the Tales franchise, and then you got Madden and FIFA, Grand Theft Auto, Super Smash Brothers.
Grand Theft Auto's in your honorable mention. Interesting.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some good discussions here. I like this.
Dragon Quest, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games, the Naruto Ultimate Ninja games.
Fucking nerd.
They're fun fighting games. I love fighting games. Resident Evil, Red Dead,
Jesus.
Fable, and then Civilization.
All right.
Civilization almost made it into my top 10.
All right.
Oh, wait, you don't have yours, do you?
No, I don't have. I forgot. My
And for
honorable
everybody
mentions.
who thinks that, because our stipulation is it has to be at least
Yes.
3 games.
Red Dead Revolver.
Yes, Red Dead Revolver. If
See,
you
I
guys
was
don't
won-
remember that,
Yes,
game,
I
that is
wa-
part of the Red Dead series,
that is true. So yes. Okay.
so it counts.
I already knew that's what you
All
were
right,
talking
so
about.
who wants to go first with their official number 10 pick? Oh shoot, I need a. Hold on, just a second. I need a piece of paper. I need to keep track of the points.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. I feel like Mario is probably going to be on everybody's top 10.
There.
Yeah, you gotta throw some curveballs.
Kind of like out of respect, maybe.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Is it-
you know what I
did,
mean?
did they just earn the place because they?
Not on my list.
So that's fair. All right. So who wants to go with number 10?
I'll go.
All right.
My number 10 is NBA 2K. I'm sure it's not on either of you guys' list.
No, but I love 2K. I don't.
If you guys can't tell, I love my sports games, and 2K is my favorite sports game.
Yeah, I like basketball
Followed
games.
closely by FIFA.
Yeah, I like basketball games more than any other type of game.
I like the
only
more
thing I don't like
fast-paced
is,
games like 2K and FIFA over Madden.
Yeah.
You know, Madden's a little slow, and it can get just kind of just dull.
Yeah,
And
I don't like the microtransactions, but just like pure gameplay, it's like the best basketball series ever. Let's see, my number 10, Uncharted.
All right.
So since I'm an Xbox guy, it'll probably make PlayStation guys and girls a little happy that I said Uncharted. I haven't played the fourth one. I've only played the first 3, and it still made my top 10 list because I think those are like a perfect action adventure games. Just all the way through. I don't think there's anything even remotely wrong with those. They just kept getting better and better with with each game. Although the second one was my favorite, but the third one wasn't very far behind either.
I mean, the gameplay on those, I think, are actually average. I really do.
I mean, it's a basic cover shooter.
Yeah, so, and it's on my list, and I'll, obviously when we get to that spot, I'll tell you where it's at. But I think what really makes those games resonate is not even the story itself, because the story's pretty generic. Indiana Jones,
Right.
the way
treasure
the
hunting,
story's told with like the cinematic.
but it's the way the story told.
I was
it's
going to
told,
say the pacing.
but I think it's more about the character dynamics.
Yeah.
The way they interact with each other. Yeah, I mean, the performances are really top notch, and Naughty Dog is known for that. Going into The Last of Us and things like that, I think that you really grow to care about these characters in a way that a lot of games can't pull off. And it goes through the mocap and the voice acting and, all of it put together, the writing and the dialogue. Those games are fantastic. Absolutely great.
Yeah. You got to love Drake.
Yeah.
In a short time, he's become a very iconic PlayStation figure.
Sure has. All right. My number 10 is Mario. Super Mario. The reason it's not higher and the reason it did make my list is that while I have not played a Mario title, a mainline Mario title, probably since Galaxy on the Wii. I didn't play 3D Land or 3D World. I didn't play
3D Land was good.
I didn't play Odyssey. I didn't play any of those, but so I can't put it any higher on my list. But the reason it's made the list at all
the originals
is the originals, all the way up till even Mario Sunshine. The first 3 are fantastic. The second one, is probably my least favorite out of the original trilogy. Super Mario World was fantastic. I remember getting that. You guys remember Super Mario All-Stars?
Mm-hmm.
Where it had the first 3.
It's
and
got that on our the SNES Mini.
Yeah. So, you know, that, and then Super Mario World was great. Obviously, 64 is iconic for a handful of reasons, and even Sunshine.
I think if they remastered Sunshine. Because
I think it was underappreciated in its release time.
I think it could have a whole new audience
people
now.
Shit on that game the way people shit on Majora's Mask, and I don't understand why. Because it's a really good game. So that's why I made my list. Because up until, like I said, about the end of the Wii era, I had played most of them and I really enjoyed them. But I can't put it any higher because I haven't played any of the more recent ones.
Yeah.
Number 9.
It's me, right?
Yep.
Number 9 is Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls.
You know, they're just, you can sink countless hours into any of the entries in the Elder Scrolls franchise, and they're all fun, and it just seems like each one is just doing everything a little bit better.
I hope Elder Scrolls 6 is like good, because after like the whole Fallout 76 continued debacle,
right?
You know, I say that I have faith in Bethesda only because 76 was like an online game. I don't see them packing an Elder Scrolls game with like the microtransactions, and then
I don't either. And the only reason I think that is because
people will be pissed. They already 76.
They already have Elder Scrolls Online, which I think was their you know, Fallout doesn't have like that. You know, there is no Fallout MMO. And so I think this was their way to create like a not looter shooter, but, you know, a live service game with, you know, like the main story and then post, you know, release content. But since they already have that on the Elder Scrolls side, I think that this, and the fact that they got burned with 76 and it launched, you know, very underwhelming. I think that they'll probably stick to just the traditional single player.
I hope so.
I think they will.
I really hope, and this is obviously just my personal opinion, I hope that they really... So with Fallout and with Elder Scrolls a little bit, I think that open world games have come so far. You know, you look at things like The Witcher, especially in that parallel space, that have done it so well, and CG Project Red, that I hope that, you know, the technical issues that we used to give Bethesda a pass for, you know, the bugs and, you know, the wonky animations.
Everybody thinks they're kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like I really hope that they, if not a new engine, I really hope that they like really evolve it. And so
they need to,
you know, like, because, you know, the content is always there, but you always see the funny, you know, when Fallout came out, Fallout 4, you know, there were compilations of like glitches and funny animations, and, you know, well, that stuff's fun. You know, I don't think that they're probably too happy that, you know what I mean?
And I think with like the whole 76 thing, if like they're already kind of on a short leash, Bethesda, with that whole thing, if they release like a buggy mess, they, you know, people are just going to get shit for that. So I think they've really got to bring their A game with the next Elder Scrolls. Is that their next mainline game?
Starfield.
I thought that was next after Elder Scrolls.
No, so not this year, but E3 2018, they announced Starfield and announced Elder Scrolls 6. They said that Starfield was coming first. I don't know if that's changed. Last that I heard, that Starfield was going to launch first, and then Elder Scrolls 6 at this point is probably going to be a mid, knowing that their development cycle, they're a mid, probably late gen PS5 release, or like next gen release.
Gotcha.
All right, what's your number 9?
Grand Theft Auto.
All right.
Well, let's see. Grand Theft Auto. I think even Grand Theft Auto 2 I played back in the day, like
the top down.
We had Grand Theft Auto.
So there was Grand Theft Auto. There was Grand Theft Auto. Was it just GTA London, which was the top down one? Yeah. And then Grand Theft Auto 2.
Old school GTA players. You play the top down one. But yeah, I really got into it in the third one, obviously. Just like the rest of the world, and it's like the biggest franchise now.
Right.
I want to say that, what I should say is I wish I would have played the fifth one more. I got maybe about like 30 hours into it. There's something about being able to do anything and like the overtopness of Grand Theft Auto that makes me not want to play the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You just mess around. You just go in and do whatever.
Right, but that gets boring after a while. I'm like,
and that's usually when I put the game down.
Have you guys tried GTA Online?
when it was like first release and it sucked, and then I haven't picked it up since then.
Apparently, it's like
It's huge.
It's
like
huge.
bigger than
It's
like any
well,
MMO.
they just announced
not any MMO, but it's as big
they-
as an MMO.
They just announced like they're still doing regular updates.
The
and they
GTA Online Diamonds or Diamond.
yeah, they have like a
expansion.
real world casino.
Yeah, they have a casino that just launched, which is controversial for a whole nother reason. We'll get into that next week on the podcast. But yeah, I mean, there's still like people, millions of people still play that every single day. Like it's amazing how huge that game is.
It's one of the most streamed games on Twitch.
Yeah, it's insane.
So yeah, I think all right. If I had to pick like a favorite Grand Theft Auto,
Mine
would be
was
San
San
Andreas.
Andreas.
It would be San Andreas.
And then my second one would be Vice City. I loved Vice City, that whole era and the Scarface.
Mine would be my top 3 GTAs would probably be number 1 Vice City, number 2 GTA 5 because I actually did play and beat that.
You did?
So I was like you. I played it, got distracted by something else, or maybe just lost interest, and I stopped probably a third of the way through.
Yeah.
Deleted it off the hard drive. I think I was bored one time. Decided to re-download it and picked it up. Started up completely over, played it, but I got really into it. But yeah, I mean, it's great. Yeah, like I said, that would probably be my number 2. My number 3 would probably be San Andreas. Honestly, it would be probably a toss-up between that and
4.
No,
3.
I didn't really care for 4 that much.
Me either.
It was okay, but
People loved 4.
Yeah.
It was one of the top rated
It
games
kind
of all
of
time.
like it didn't have that like over the top quality that the other ones kind of had. It was a little more grounded and realistic and
Nico Bellic.
yeah. Not like,
San Andreas is the only Grand Theft Auto that I've actually ever beat.
Really?
Yeah, all the other ones
I don't think I've ever. I'd
play
or Vice City, but I haven't beaten any other ones.
I play the games, get distracted by other stuff, and then get bored with the other stuff, and then I just put the game down, wouldn't go back to the story.
Yeah, so I didn't beat 3. I've beaten Vice City. I've beaten San Andreas. I did not beat 4, and I've beaten 5. But my number 9 is BioShock. That franchise, and the reason it's not higher is because even though I think 2 gets shit on because it was not made by Irrational, it was made by 2K Marin, I think it was. That game gets shit on unfairly, almost in the same way that the Arkham Origins, because it wasn't made by Rocksteady, people shit on it unfairly.
Yeah.
Even though I think it's still I still think it's better than Arkham Asylum. But anyway, point is that even though that game is still great, it's my least favorite of the 3. But the original BioShock, I'll never forget the twist. I'll never forget the opening. When you go down the elevator into Rapture for the first time, and it kind of opens up. And then Infinite, I thought gameplay wise was a little too shootery for me. I
never played it.
I like the more strategic aspects of the first one.
Yeah, the first one it was more thinking than just straight up gunplay.
Yeah, and this one was more gunplay than thinking. But the story was really captivating, and then the ending, the way it tied back into the first 2, the first one especially.
So it's all in the same universe.
Yeah,
it's all the same.
But through 99% of the game, you didn't know that.
Right.
Because it was like, there were literally, as far as I remember, and I played it when it first came out, so maybe I'm misremembering, but as far as I remember, that game, other than a couple of themes, there were no direct references to the first BioShock and the first and the second one up until the very end, and then they pulled the rug out of under it, and it was awesome. Like, it was just so cool. But anyway, so that's why, again, it's number 9. It probably would have been higher if I enjoyed number 2 more. But yeah, so BioShock, number 9. All right, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider.
And it would be higher, but the main reason it's on is for the latest trilogy.
Okay.
Those games are so much fun.
Yeah, I really like.
only
The
played-
reboot and the
original
second one. I beat both of those. I haven't beat the.
Do you have all three though, or have you
is
played
it?
all three?
Shadow of the
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I played all three, but I haven't beat the Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
See, I played the first one, the reboot Tomb Raider that came out at the beginning of last gen or whenever it was. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. For some reason, I don't know if I just didn't have the time. For whatever reason, I didn't pick up the sequel. As far as I remember, that one.
If you like the first one, the second and third one do everything bigger and better
Really?
than the first one.
I really liked it. I liked how they tried to ground the story from what I remember. I haven't played that game since it first came out, but I like the direction they took Laura. It was more grounded. It was less about her giant boobs everywhere, and it told like a more serious in quotes. There were still supernatural elements definitely at the end, but yeah, I mean that's a good pick. I like that one. All right, what's your number 8?
Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls.
I already talked about it.
All right. My number 8 is Resident Evil.
That was very close to making it to my top
That
10.
would have been on my list, but I was always too scared to play Resident Evil.
5 and 6 is what kept it from my list.
And again, that is the exact reason why it's not higher. So I remember playing. Actually, I don't remember really playing the first one, the original on PlayStation and Sega Saturn. We had PlayStations, but
I remember playing the re-release on GameCube.
that was my first introduction to the original. Now I do remember playing Resident Evil 2 with Leo. He rented it from either Carry Video or Blockbuster, and
Old people.
yeah. So
Buster.
I remember playing those, and I remember me watching him play. I'm sorry, but I don't really remember picking up the sticks. Same thing with the third one.
I remember playing the third one. It was so scary because the nemesis
followed you
everywhere, and he just bust into random rooms, like through the wall, like the Kool-Aid Man.
But they were great. They were very impactful for me, even though I don't remember playing them too much. Now, obviously, with Resident Evil 4,
That's one of my favorite games of all time.
it flipped it on its head. It really
Over the shoulder.
It really reinvented the franchise. Yeah, it took away the static backgrounds and the fixed camera angles.
Resident Evil 4 to me is like the perfect balance of the survival horror and the shooting. But 5 and 6 went way over the top. It wasn't even scary. It was just like your Rambo running around, mowing down zombies, and
She's smiling.
Was Resident Evil 4 even on your top games?
no.
You forgot about it, didn't you?
But it was like the perfect blend of like with enough shooting and but like limited shooting and limited bullets to where you still felt like you were surviving without just being over the top.
Did you play Resident Evil 7?
So I played 7. I beat 7.
Me too. I didn't think it was that scary. It was tense, but I didn't.
It was okay.
It was scary.
I wanted to, and I don't have a PSVR, but I really want to try in VR and see how that goes. And now,
one of the things I love about the Resident Evil franchise is like the different puzzles that they have throughout them. Those I love puzzles in video games. I love having to actually use my brain.
Right.
And
see, that's the part that I probably like the least is I just don't like my mind doesn't work that way.
Mine does. I love it.
It just like
I love puzzles.
I can't do it
in general.
And especially like the weird ones where it's now Resident Evil is not as bad as like some like old school adventure games where it's like
Myst.
Yeah, it's like it's so like obscure and obtuse that like there's no way that you just figure that out through logic. Like it was through trial and error. I remember playing the old Sam and Max games on PS3. I was trying to get the platinum trophy. And so it was like you had to escape this room. And so you got to like hook up the wire to like, it was just like, it didn't, it wasn't logical. But anyway.
I love puzzles in games. If there would have been a third one in the franchise, Portal definitely would have made my top 10 because I love those games.
I can't. Yeah, I get so frustrated. Like my mind just doesn't work that way. But yeah, so Resident Evil, I remember the original trilogy. I didn't play too much of them until later, and then going back and playing them as an adult. Resident Evil 4 is great. 5 and 6, not so much. That's probably why it didn't rank higher. I really liked 7 and the Resident Evil 2 remake that came out earlier this year. Really,
that was a great game.
I mean, if you are going to remake a classic title for a modern audience, that's the method, or that's the example that you should use. I mean, I really believe that they took the core.
I like how they be like the new trend is like, you know, like not just remastering, but completely remaking.
I think there are certain games that could do it. I mean, you know,
with all those old classic games that like people
you think about, like the
this generation's never played, or
the iconic games.
Right.
You know, you think about Resident Evil 2, you think about Final Fantasy. I think Metal Gear Solid.
I'd love to see him
in the Fox engine.
Imagine like
huge.
like the original, like the 2D Metal Gear Solids, if they like
the Metal Gear games
engine, you know.
That's what I mean. Like those are, you know, there are certain games where, even going back to like the 16-bit games, like if you, now granted they're doing a Final Fantasy 7, but if you took a Final Fantasy 6 or a Chrono Trigger, or you know, or something like that, and you know, completely redid it.
They need to make a new Chrono game, man.
That would have made my list if there was a third Chrono game.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, number 7. What's your number 7?
My number 7 is Pokemon.
Pokemon.
They're just fun games. Like
they're like simple.
They're simple. The formula's the same, but it's the fact that there's like there's new Pokemon.
It's like nothing really changes in like Pokemon games.
It's just, but they're so. I have zero to contribute. I haven't played a Pokemon game since probably like GBA or something.
Well, just like the new Pokemon, capturing them, and then like, you know, just like evolving them. It hasn't changed, but it doesn't need to change.
There's a reason why it's like one of the best-selling franchises ever.
Yeah, they hit gold with that formula.
My number 7 is Mass Effect, that was a different episode. We talked about Mass Effect. The Mass Effect trilogy for me, it was right around like, what was it, like Halo 3? I was getting like burnt out on the sci-fi thing.
Right.
So I didn't even think I was really going to like Mass Effect.
Right.
But I really like BioWare. Did like BioWare. And so the first one is really good, but it kind of had its issues. That like the gameplay wasn't really all that great. And I remember it being pretty, at least for me, it was kind of buggy. In spots, especially like the was that the moon rover, or like the rover, was that the first one?
That was the first one.
It was what was the name of it? The Mako.
Yeah, the Mako. Yeah, that thing like bugged out on me all the time.
Yeah, it was wonky.
Yeah, it was pretty wonky. But the second one's like a perfect 10 video game for me.
I agree. That's my favorite out of the trilogy.
It's a great trilogy.
And I think so the first one was very much a BioWare RPG that we were used to, like KOTOR.
Exactly.
The second one, they tried to make it more action.
Yeah.
I mean, they still had the RPG elements, but it was definitely more of a shooter. Yeah. So like with the first one, you could aim perfectly at an enemy, but if your accuracy wasn't high enough,
it was all that behind the scenes numbers.
It would still miss. So with this one, it was very much more like a shooter.
But they still did it so good.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It was a cover-based shooter. I think the third one gets shit on a lot unfairly because of the ending controversy, which I don't even think was that big of a deal. I mean, it's like, what did they expect? Like, what did you really expect with how this was going to end? Like,
people get upset when things don't work out the way they want them to.
Yeah, exactly.
They had it in their own head the way that it would go.
Well, that's what I mean. Like this game, you're supposed to have like, you know, the whole point of the trilogy was like, make your own choices,
right?
You know, but you can't have an infinite number of endings that suited your one. Like, it's just not possible to do that. And the same thing with like, you know, I always with games like that, or like Telltale's The Walking Dead, especially the first season. You know, I always say it's like a coloring book.
Right.
You can shade it in and make it your own way, but at the end of the day, the picture is going to be the same.
Yeah.
No matter what. So anyway, but yeah.
Did you guys play Andromeda?
I did not.
I never played.
I heard it sucked.
Well,
a lot.
I heard it sucked at launch, but they've made a lot of improvements to where it's actually supposed to be not, it's not going to be Mass Effect 2, but it's,
Right.
It's much, much better than what it originally scored as.
I'll never play it. Too late.
Yeah.
Too late, Bioware. You messed it up. I want good games at launch.
My number 7 is The Legend of Zelda.
Ooh, actually, I think that's kind of low.
Yeah, I agree.
So same reasoning as my other picks is that I haven't played many of the recent ones, so I couldn't score it higher. I haven't played Breath of the Wild. I haven't played
Great game.
Skyward Sword.
I remember playing a little bit.
Skyward Sword is.
I think Skyward Sword is overrated.
It is.
IGN gave it I remember IGN giving it a 10 and a bunch.
They
of
gave it a 10. It definitely doesn't.
It was like an 8.
That's what I mean.
It doesn't deserve. It doesn't deserve a 10. But it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game. I played it. Did everything.
It's 100%. The Nintendo bias. I swear to God, it's real. But. So I like how
the recent ones they expanded on the timeline, because this was like the very first game in the timeline, so it was interesting to like before how Hyrule came to be, and how the legend of Link and Zelda like started.
Right. So yeah, I haven't played the recent ones. I didn't play any of the Link Between Worlds. I didn't play the
Link Between Worlds was a great.
It's very good.
I didn't play the Spirit Tracks.
I never played those 3DS.
Yeah, I didn't play those.
Like the Wind Waker spinoffs, Spirit Tracks. Yeah. There's another one. I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember either. I know what it is. It's the sequel to Spirit Tracks.
Yeah.
It was the first one that came out. But anyway, so I couldn't fairly, in my own mind, justify putting it higher. But the reason it made the list at all is because the first one was great, even though I was very little when I played it. Going back and playing it as an adult, Zelda 2 is always it's kind of like the outlier. It was very different.
So side scroller.
It was the side scroller one. Yeah. So it was side scroller until you got.
It's still good though. Yeah, but this is different.
I played it.
The exploration was side scrolling, but the dungeons were still top down. So it was kind of like a mix. But obviously, A Link to the Past is considered one of the great games of all time. That
I actually replayed that a couple months ago.
Still holds up. I mean, it's probably
such a fun game.
Ocarina of Time is it did for Zelda what Mario did for Mario at that point. Mm-hmm. Majora's Mask, I still think is highly underrated.
It is. I
think people shit on that game too much.
I haven't played the 3DS remake, but I played the original on the N64 and I loved it.
And then Wind Waker is fantastic. I think that game
that game is underrated.
People look at that game. People have revisionist history about that game because everybody remembers when that game was announced.
It's because they wanted
it on it.
It was because the tech demo that had the realistic Link.
That's what they wanted, and so they remember. And then they released Zelda, CELDA. Remember that?
Yeah.
So people shit on now. People love that game now, but when it originally came out,
I still love it.
People wanted. Now I'm not saying you guys, but like just in the media in general.
Right.
Like,
I remember.
They were acting like they were riding with Wind Waker from the beginning.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Revisionist historians then.
But anyway, Wind Waker is arguably my favorite Zelda. That or Breath of the Wild. But Ocarina of Time. It's hard to pick.
But after that, I kind of fell off, and I didn't really care for Twilight Princess. I remember playing that a little bit.
Again, it was good. It was
all right.
Was that the one that was on GameCube and Wii?
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
I beat it. And I'd rank it like.
It would be
I'd rank it
below.
I'd rank it below Skyward Sword.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean that's why it's not higher. Is the more recent ones probably since the Wii, I haven't really played. But yeah, the first couple generations of Zelda games.
But their dungeon design is always top notch with the puzzles, but they're not like overwhelmingly hard puzzles. But they do require you to think. And
the Link's Awakening remake.
Oh that looks good. That looks good.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so what's your number 6?
Mine is Call of Duty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine's Call of Duty. Also.
I I just lost track. But yeah, so all right, so both of ours is Call of Duty. I didn't know that.
For reasons we've gone into on this show a lot already. It's just, it's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Comes out every year. If there's nothing else to play, you can always play
like that Pavlov's dog, like Call of Duty.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Call of Duty's coming out. I mean, mouth's watering.
They're really, I always have said maybe I actually don't think I've actually said this, but I've always thought that if I was a game developer and I was going to make a first-person shooter, I would just totally make it feel exactly like Call of Duty.
Yeah,
to me, it's
like freaking
the way
man.
it doesn't matter if it's about a war on Earth, like it doesn't matter what the shooter is about, but the actual feel of the controls.
There's no first-person shooter that feels as good as Call of Duty.
And they've tried since Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare has come out. They tried to copy it, but nothing quite feels like.
I will say I'm getting tired of Black Ops 4.
It's such a trash Call of Duty. It's really like one of my least favorite Call of Duties. That doesn't mean I don't play it every day because I do, but there's just so much wrong with it.
It's like Stockholm Syndrome. You can turn it off.
It's going to be hostage.
You can turn it off.
That reminds me. So August 1st, which I think is next Friday, it's a week from tomorrow, they're doing the full reveal for the multiplayer.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
We are going to do, if not a live reaction, depending on what time the reveal is.
I think it's 1 Eastern time.
Okay, so I'll be at work. I'll be doing the day job, so I won't be able to do that. But that evening, we'll get together. Yeah. So you guys check that out, youtube.com/SavePointVids. We'll probably we'll sync it up with the trailer.
Right.
And we'll just do a reaction. You guys try not to watch it live. We'll all watch it together for the first time.
Right.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, and
I've been excited.
Yeah,
I've been waiting to see.
We'll put a react up to that. We'll put that live same day, August 1st. So yeah, that was both of your number 6s?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine.
Don't get me wrong, I still love Call of Duty, but I'm tired of Black Ops 4. I'm ready for Modern Warfare. But I'll still keep playing Black Ops 4 till Modern Warfare.
My number 6 is God of War.
I've only played the first two. I never played the third or the new one.
They're all great games. The only reason, again, it's not higher. They did have a dud with God of War Ascension.
I did play the first one that came out on the PSP.
The PSP one was good.
Chains of Olympia?
Chains of maybe Chains of Olympia.
Was that the first one? Because they released like two.
Yeah, they were made by Ready at Dawn. I can't remember the actual name. It might be Chains of Olympus actually. But yeah, so, just talking about the mainline ones, because I played I think there were, a couple on PSP. I only played the first one. The only reason, again, it's not higher is because God of War Ascension, which came out on the PS3, was kind of a dud. They tried to, shoehorn some multiplayer mode into it. That was crap. The first 3 on PlayStation 3 were fantastic. Great games. Or actually, PS2 was the first God of War.
And 3 was on PS3.
Yeah, actually, you're right. So God of War and God of War 2 were PS2 games. Mm-hmm. The reason God of War 2 was not controversial, but people were wondering what was going on is because it launched on PS2 after the PS3 had launched. That was the reason.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that was kind of the thing with that. God of War 3 was on PS3. Then they did Ascension, which was kind of a dud by, all accounts. But then it's not really a reboot because it really reimagining because it is the same story with the same characters.
Yeah, it's still a continuation of the main story.
So, but everything had changed. It went from the pulled back third person
to over the shoulder.
Button masher type
it was
thing.
very much more. It was much more in your face. The cool thing about that was the camera never cut away. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
I've heard that.
From the time that the game originally loaded, the camera never cuts. So it's seamless from cutscenes. The camera will shift.
Yeah.
That's probably when they do their loading in of assets.
So the camera will shift, but it doesn't actually cut away.
It's like some slick editing.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Birdman movie.
But yeah, so fantastic games. The gameplay's always been top notch. Kratos as a character was kind of blah up until this reboot where they actually gave him some.
They humanized him.
Yeah, because it was always about he was
just going crazy.
His one emotion was just rage and anger all the time, and he would yell everything.
But look at his backstory. He had a lot to be angry about.
Yeah,
he got screwed over by the gods at the end of every game.
But yeah, so God of War is definitely on that. Just from a gameplay perspective, it was top notch. All right, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
I know a lot of people they think it's too convoluted.
It is convoluted.
I mean, it is. I'm not saying it's not, but But if you play them all, it's easy to say it's convoluted if you haven't played them all.
I mean, that's fair.
If you play them
that
all,
is a fair point.
Then you can understand it. It's told in a roundabout way.
Yeah, but there's the Heartless, and then they introduce the Nobodies, which it's just, and then you have like
the Unversed.
Yes, exactly. It's like they're just creating words, and it's you have like the regular characters, but then you have like, don't they have like alternate egos or alternate?
Yeah, but it's not complicated if you played it.
I mean, okay, that's fair. That's a fair point. I'll give you that.
Because you got the regular players, and then Nobodies are what happen to people when they become heartless. That's what happens to the body. And so the alternate of the people are like what happened when they became heartless, and so the alternates are Nobodies. Yeah. Okay. And
all right.
Yeah,
that's fine. I mean, again, I think I've said this on one of the prior episodes. It has everything that I should love about games. It has all the Disney characters. It has the crazy Final Fantasy
Although I will
story.
say I'm still very upset that Kingdom Hearts 3 doesn't have any Square Final Fantasy characters in it.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, see, I played probably 5, maybe 6 or 7 hours of Kingdom Hearts 3, and I couldn't get into it. I couldn't get through it. But yeah, I mean, it's
And the way they ended Kingdom Hearts 3, they're setting it up for it seems like at least a new game, probably if not like a new series or trilogy.
Oh, I'm sure those games sell like crazy. There's no way that.
And I'm excited to see where that goes, because there's a lot of unanswered questions at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Cliffhangers.
What are we on?
All right, number 5.
Look through my list because they're out of order. Pokemon
number 5.
Yep.
All right.
Pokemon Yellow is still my favorite Pokemon.
I do love Pokemon
Because
Yellow.
Pikachu's so hard to get in any other Pokemon game.
I mean, it's not
So
even.
it's nice to start
Because I grew up watching the anime when I was really little, and it follows like the anime. Because the Red and Blue didn't. So Yellow did,
right.
and it had Pikachu following you, and then like at first he doesn't like you, and as the game progresses, he likes you and like loves you, and then
You know what? I never knew that it was a game first and then an anime. I always thought it was an anime first and then
Red and Blue came out first, and then they made it into an anime. Then Yellow came out.
Yep.
Never knew that.
But yeah, the Pokemon games, they're so good, and the fact that they're like turning 3D makes them so much better. Like you can actually see the attacks instead of it's just like a moving sprite that moves slightly to the right then back to the left.
That game, if they ever decide to like go like really big budget AAA with those games, it'd be so good. You know, like an open world.
There was rumors that they were doing. There was rumors for a while that they were gonna team up with somebody and do like a Pokemon MMO.
That'd be cool.
I've always said like they should do a big one that has all the regions of all the previous games
that's what I'm
in
saying,
the game and all the Pokemon, and like you can.
And I think
you can go from region to region and like beat all the gym leaders.
I really think that they'll eventually give us a true 3D.
Right.
Open world RPG. I really do think that's
they're moving towards it, especially with Sword and Shield, and then they had Y and the remake of Ruby and Sapphire. Yeah.
All right, what's your number 5?
We just did it. Pokemans.
Oh, both of yours are Pokemon?
No, mine was Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts Pokemon. Okay. My number 5 is GTA. So again, we've already talked about it. I won't go into it. Great games, I think. One of the first franchises that I remember that really attracted like Hollywood talent. Not that makes it legitimate, but that's just kind of how big of a deal it was. Like in the original or in GTA 3, it wasn't there was somebody, it wasn't Ray Liotta. Because I think he was in Vice City. But yeah, there was somebody in GTA 3 that was like a big name, and then Samuel Jackson and San Andreas and stuff like that. So it was it's I don't even know why I thought of that, but yeah, it's just fantastic games. I mean,
one of the most controversial franchises of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but when you think about it, like looking back, it's so stupid.
It really is. A lot of these controversies.
Even at the time, I knew it was stupid.
Well, yeah, me too. But the thing is, the way, never mind. I'm not going to get into what's happening in this country.
So, all right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Suikoden.
Okay.
So Golden.
They're all. Well, I'd say 4 out of the 5 that they release are easily like all top 50 RPGs.
Yeah, if you're like
of
a
all
fan
time.
of JRPGs, this is like it's a franchise that you just have to play.
They're great.
You
the
really
the
do.
fourth
You owe it
one,
to
the fourth one, it wasn't nearly as good as the other four. Like the other four are really like close, like in my like order.
I don't
of, like,
remember
what
the
I
fourth
placed
one.
them, like that I placed them.
Played
That's
the dude
it.
with the two swords, and he was
He's
like,
a pirate, and they're islands, and you like do ship.
Was he the one with the red headband?
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember the game. I don't remember playing it.
And like, but like the 1, 2, 3, and 5 are like really close.
Which
and
one
then,
was
like,
5? I don't remember that one either, hardly.
It's the guy with like he had the 3-part like bow staff that like turned into like nunchucks.
I don't know.
But
I remember the first 3 really well,
but
especially the ones on PlayStation, the original PlayStation.
yeah, and they're all such great games. I think my favorite is obviously 2, and then like
Yeah.
5, and then 3, and then 1. But those are all really close. And then 4 is like a little farther down, but it's still like a great game. They kind of did some weird stuff. Like instead of having 6 people in your party at a time, they only had 4.
Right.
And they took it. Yeah. And it was, but you know, it was still a great game, and they're really great games. It's like like a storied world that they all take place in.
it's
like,
very Game of Thronesy.
yeah, it has like a lot of history and stuff that
And I like
they
how they
still
kept
left
it-
unexplained
Yeah, right.
when they dropped the franchise.
That's what I really liked
would
it, and
wish they'd go back and make some more, because
Right.
I want to know like the history and like all that stuff.
that's what I really liked about that. Like if you contrast it to like Final Fantasy, where it eventually became like the whole world was involved, and like you know,
It's
depending on
very
which
grounded. It's very political.
Yeah, it's,
like
you know,
kingdoms and rebellions.
it's a
or
couple-
kingdom versus
yeah.
kingdom.
You know, I mean, some of the Final Fantasies did that, but a lot of them, you know, it became like, like an overt threat to like all of humanity.
And you have to save the world.
Yeah, save the world and get your team together. I mean, you know, so, but yeah, that's a great franchise. I would love to see them bring that back, or maybe just do not even a remaster, just put the games on a disc and just release them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're doing it with like Contra. You know, Konami's doing it with Contra
We don't
and
want Contra.
Castlevania. You know, I
Like even if Konami doesn't want to make another one, let another studio make
Right.
one.
Yeah, just
Like,
sell the rights to it,
yeah.
man.
You know,
So-
like
Anyways,
all right. What's your number 4?
Halo.
Halo.
It's Halo, man.
yeah,
I'm an
they're
Xbox
great
player,
games.
and it's Halo.
But the reason why I didn't make my top 10 was because I stopped playing the multiplayer after Halo 3.
No, you stopped playing the multiplayer
After
when
Call of
Modern Warfare 4 came out.
Yeah, it's because, like, in my opinion at least, Call of Duty did the multiplayer so much better than Halo, so it was kind of hard to go back to it. I know they're two different styles,
Right.
but
Yeah,
I like the progression of Call of Duty.
unlocking and stuff.
Yeah, and Halo doesn't have that, so I kind of just...
So that brings me to my next question. So with the Halo Infinite coming out, do you think that they do that? Do you think they have like some type of...
Yeah, there'll be
Unlock.
stuff that you can unlock. I don't know if they're going to have it like...
It's not-
I still think it's going to be like you have to run around and pick up your own guns on the map. But there'll be like suits you can unlock by leveling
Right.
up.
Okay.
New emblems or whatever.
You don't think that they'll have like a loadout system? You said they would pick up weapons on the map.
That wouldn't be very
doubt
Halo. That wouldn't be
don't
very
think so.
really Halo, because it's always been picking up weapons on the map, knowing where the weapons are, the first to get to like the sniper
Right.
rifle or whatever.
Yeah. I'm still excited for it, but I've always...
I'm excited for it for the story more than anything, because I played all of them, all the stories, all the way
Right.
through for all of them.
Yeah. Love me some Halo.
All right,
Love me some
my
Master Chief.
number 4 is Metal Gear Solid. I mean, this game, and I'm talking about the one since PlayStation. I'm talking about the original Metal Gear on NES or anything like that, or the MSX. You know, it was the first game that I think that I remember really investing. It was just very cinematic. It was very
There's great moments in all of them.
Yeah, there was
Like in the
nothing.
first one, the Psycho Mantis battle, which is like infamous in gaming. Like
I think if you were to pick, and we might do this for a topic, but I think if you put like the top 10 video game moments on there, Like,
that
that's
was crazy.
probably number one. And
Having to switch your controller
port. I mean, the way
he could read your memory card.
the way Kojima really like thought outside the box, because
he always does.
it was just like, yeah. So I mean, the story itself is very. It was grounded in a way, but at the same time, when you look at the villains, it really wasn't.
It wasn't, but
But it was. He kind of meshed this like
conspiracy theories
Right. And so it was like the gameplay and now is very dated, but at the time it was great. You can knock on walls to like lure guards, and they could see your footprints.
You could hide in a cardboard box.
Hide in the cardboard boxes. It was very
classic.
It was the first game that I remember. What I'm saying is the first game that I remember where, it wasn't an action game. Like, you had to use stealth or you weren't going to get through it.
That threw me off the first time.
And I love that. Like, I love when games like use stealth now because of Metal Gear Solid. Like, I love sneaking around. I love like sneaking and like taking out an enemy and not being seen or heard.
Yeah, I mean,
like going through an entire game without like being seen. I love that.
Metal Gear Solid 2, same thing. I think that game, honestly, out of the trilogy, the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games, I think Metal Gear Solid 2 is probably the weakest. And it's not even the fact that they switched, they pulled the switch and, you controlled Raiden for 2/3 of the game. It's just, I think the tanker itself, the actual design and the level was very...
It's kind of bland.
It was kind of bland compared to... I guess you could make an argument that even the first game in the military complex, Shadow Moses was kind of bland.
Yeah.
But there was something about it where it was great at the time, and it's still a fantastic game. But I think that out of the
Metal
3,
Gear Solid 2 it's actually my second favorite in the franchise.
It was really great, and again, the twist at the end that it was basically the Solid Snake simulation.
Trying to recreate.
They're trying to create Solid Snake, through this program. I mean, it was very. They broke the fourth wall. Metal Gear Solid 3, I think, is probably honestly the best out of the
That's my
first
favorite
3.
in the franchise. The entire franchise.
You had the Fury in the end. The actual bosses were, I think, the best. Honestly.
I love how they took it out of urban type stealth, and you were like in a jungle, and you had different camouflages.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game. I think the story was
great. And
Metal Gear Solid 4.
That's my least favorite in the series.
It's probably my least. Actually, it's probably my second. It's second from the bottom. I still enjoyed it. I don't think it was.
I loved it. I love them all.
Fantastic. The only reason that this franchise didn't crack my top 3 because I really didn't like Metal Gear Solid 5.
I didn't play it.
I liked the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 5.
The gameplay was
that's why it's not my least favorite.
I think the gameplay is perfect. Like
but you could tell with the story that Kojima was just doing it because Konami was telling him to do it,
and that's why it didn't crack my top 5. Because when I think of Metal Gear Solid, I don't think about gameplay. It's the story and the characters.
But the story is still not bad. It's still he still ties it into like everything, and it's not just like this like.
I think
it's plausible.
I think the first hour of that game, number 5, is great. I think that if you're in the hospital or wherever you're at, the psych ward or whatever, that first hour or so is, I think, on par with every other game. But once it opens up and you actually get to the real meat of the game, for me the story fell apart. I know it's still there, but it's not like what I wanted out of a Metal Gear, and that's why I can't.
But the gameplay is everything I've wanted out of Metal Gear.
The gameplay is great.
Each area you can tackle it however you want.
You can go in guns blazing. You can be tactical. You can sit back.
You can sit back, observe, find like weak points, which is the way I always do because it's a Metal Gear game.
But yeah. So anyway, Metal Gear Solid number 4. All right, what's your top 3?
My number 3 is Legend of Zelda.
All right, Zelda.
We talked about it already, and the reason it's so high on my list is. First, I played all the recent ones, and they're all great games. And Breath of the Wild, it definitely lives up to all the hype that it's gotten. And there's enough to do in Breath of the Wild
that you're always doing
something, but it's not like where it's so open and there's so much to do, like The Witcher, where you feel overwhelmed and you can still like do everything, and it'll still like take a lot of time. But it's not like where you want to do everything, but you'll never complete the game if you do.
Right.
And, I remember when we first got the N64, and you seen the meme of like the little kid who gets the N64 for Christmas and he like freaks out. That was me. Like,
I remember that very well.
and I remember playing Ocarina of Time all the time. It's
a great game. I mean, fantastic game. It really is.
And Wind Waker is highly underrated. That's arguably one of my favorite. Well, it is one of my favorite. It might be my favorite. Still don't know. It's hard to decide, but that's why Zelda's so high on my list.
All right, number 3.
Suikoden. 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 Which you already talked about.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, my number 3 is Mass Effect. It's pretty high on the list, even with Andromeda being kind of a dud. I have not gone back to play it since all of the updates. I played it when it first came out and didn't like it at all, really. But I can't take away the fact that what the original trilogy did. Out of the original 3, I think the first one was probably the weakest. Not necessarily from the story, but from the gameplay standpoint, because, again, when they basically revised and redid the gameplay from the ground up for the second one, I think it really, took it to the next level. But up until that point, I mean, there were games that where you could, make decisions, even KOTOR and things like that. But it was the one where you could make decisions and it carried from one game to the next. And that was at that point, and I mean, really, games don't even now do that. Now they do it in like episodic games,
right?
Like, again, The Walking Dead, or something like that. But you have a AAA title where the trilogy, you can really draw a starting and an end point and see how all of your decisions in the third game. I remember in the third game, the decisions you made in the first game, really did affect how the story played out, and that was very cool at the time. If Andromeda was a great game, when I played it, it might even be higher than that. But yeah, Mass Effect, it was fantastic. So, all right, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Metal Gear Solid.
All right.
For everything that we've already said,
and
I love
more.
that franchise.
And more. And more.
All right, what's your number 2?
Zelda. Because it's Zelda. And it's awesome.
My number 2 is Final Fantasy. I really, between this and my number 1, I really debated on where I wanted to put this. Because there are some Final Fantasies that I just don't care for at all. And I've tried.
I like them all except for the 13 trilogy.
For some reason, I can't get through 12. And I've tried probably 5 or 6 times. I can't do it. 13, I didn't care for. And I'm talking about the mainline one. I don't count 11 and 14, although by all accounts, those are fantastic games. 15, it was good. I don't think it was very good, maybe even great.
The thing that kept me coming back to 15 wasn't the story. The story was subpar, in my opinion. It was the gameplay.
Right.
The gameplay was really good.
Yeah, and so, but when you think about a Final Fantasy game, you think about the sweeping story and the characters. And while the character dynamic in 15 was good, I really liked how...
That's what 15 would be near the bottom of my Final Fantasy list.
But I really liked how the characters, the 4 main characters, they're with you obviously at the beginning, and with rare exception for plot points, they're with you the whole time. But the story itself, the plot itself was a little subpar. I think it was still a step in the right direction after 13, the 13 trilogy. And I'm excited to see what the future of the franchise is. Obviously, the next game is
I'm excited
7 remake.
Because from the trend of from the 13 trilogy to 15, it seems like they're getting back into their Final Fantasy groove more and more. And
but I can't understate the fact that, especially, 5 and 6 on the SNES, or 3, depending on what part of the world you're in. But then the trilogy on PlayStation. I mean, really, and even 10. 10 too, it is what it is. But,
I enjoyed 10 too.
7, 8, 9, and 10
That was just like the golden age.
It really was. It was Squaresoft to a T. And those games, those 4 games alone, even though there are 15 mainline Final Fantasy games, those 4 games and the impact that they had on me, those 4 games alone are reason enough to put it that high on the list.
Yeah, those great games. I've beaten them all except for 13, 2, and 3. So,
all right, what's your number 2? Or I'm sorry, number 1.
Final Fantasy.
Number 1.
Which is my number 1 also. And also, I think Final Fantasy is the only franchise where I have to buy it day one. Even Zelda, I like to buy it day one, but it's not like a super must that I have to get it. I think Final Fantasy is the only franchise where like I feel like I can't wait another day.
Final Fantasy is the only franchise where I would buy a system to make sure I can get it day one.
Right.
That's fair. I mean, you're gonna have to do that with the next one coming out, the 7 remake.
So yeah, Final Fantasy.
My number 1 is a very surprising pick. I don't know if you guys caught it or
no.
Uncharted.
Hey, that was on my list.
The reason, well, I said it was on my list, but I don't think you guys realize, or I don't think you guessed that it was going to be number 1.
Wasn't keeping track.
It's the only franchise that I remember that I've played every single entry multiple times and loved it.
Really?
The first one out of the, and I didn't play Golden Abyss on the Vita. I'm talking about the mainline ones on console. But those 4 games. And Lost Legacy, which was kind of the side story with Chloe, and that was great. I'm not even counting that one, but just the Uncharted 1 through 4. Number 1 is the weakest out of the 4 for sure, from a plot standpoint, definitely from a gameplay perspective. They definitely iterated and refined the gunplay and the everything else, but. It was what I was talking about earlier is the character dynamics. You really get the sense that these characters know each other and are friends, and the way they banter back and forth when you're just walking through the environment. It used to be like gameplay and then cutscene and then gameplay and then cutscene, and they kind of like melded the two to where you're walking through or traversing an environment and Nate and Sully are bantering back and forth about something, and it really is small things like that really just draw you in, and you, like I said before, you really start to care about these characters. But yeah, I've played all 4 multiple times. I played the original trilogy probably 3 or 4 times each. I played this 4th one at least twice. And I've enjoyed it every single time. I really have. And I'm excited, for Last of Us 2.
Me too,
I really hope that, and that would have been on my list. Obviously, there's only 1 game.
Yeah.
But
it's so good.
It's such a good game. But I really hope that they somehow
bring Drake
back, even if Drake is like the new Sully in the new one. Because spoilers for Uncharted 4, he basically goes off into the sunset and retires at the end.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that come back because Naughty Dog, I think they're honestly, in my opinion, between those 3 games and The Last of Us, I truly believe that there's no better developer on the planet right now. I think they're
I would say them or Take-Two.
Take-Two.
Or not Take-Two.
No,
Rockstar.
Yeah, I know.
Take-Two. Rockstar.
But yeah, depending on what you want out of a game. But I think if you want like a narrative game with great characters and a plot that you care about and you want to get invested in, I don't think there's a game or there's a developer that is on Naughty Dog's level by any means. And I really mean
they haven't even made a bad game. Like, I don't think they've ever made a bad game.
I even like the Jack and Jack. I like the Jack games.
Hi. All right, you guys fill time. I'm going to tally this up.
I was surprised Half-Life wasn't on your list.
There's only 2, man.
There's episodic releases.
I know, but I didn't count those as games because they're only like a few hours long. It would. It would be on my list. I don't think they're ever going to make Half-Life 3, man.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
No, man. I'd be dead.
Hence
I wonder who's on your honorable mention. Nobody put Dark Souls, man.
I never played the Dark
I can't get
Souls
into those
games.
games.
You guys are real gamers.
I played Bloodborne and Sekiro, but like I never played any of the Dark Souls games. I liked Bloodborne.
Dude, their new game. God, what is it called? Is it George R. Martin?
Elden Ring.
Yeah. Has there any been news on that? Oh my God! All right. So I was reading something earlier today. No, it was a YouTube video. I can't remember who posted it, but Konami is going to make Metal Gear Solid 6 without Kojima. So,
I mean, you have to imagine that that game, that's their biggest franchise.
But they shouldn't.
They're going to.
I know they would, and I'm still going to play it.
If only for the fact.
I don't know if that's fact, but it was a video.
I mean, it's going to happen, whether you heard it or not.
Just stick to your Plinko machines, man. Don't ruin it.
They're going to do it, and if they're smart, if they're smart, this is what they should do, in my opinion. If they're smart to get the goodwill back,
Kojima.
Remake Metal Gear Solid 1 in the Fox engine. Bring back the original cast. Bring back David Hayter.
I was very upset when they replaced him with Kiefer Sutherland.
I think that was a Konami move. I can't imagine Kojima actually wanting to do that. But bring back, re-record all the dialogue and just remake it with, PS5 tech.
Yeah,
garner goodwill and then go into like a new trilogy.
I don't even know what it would be about, what it could be about.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
There was something else I was reading too. I can't remember now. Let's see. Oh, I'm getting Civilization 6 finally. Since it's on my honorable mentions, I'm getting it maybe at the end of this week, which I heard it was really good on Switch, which is what I'm buying it for.
It's on Switch?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know if it uses the touch controls or not, but I heard regardless, it's pretty good.
I love Civilization games.
I think as far as like just sitting in front of a TV and not being able to, or like a screen and not being able to stop, Civilization would probably be like the #1 franchise. Because I think I've woken up and played Civilization until I went to sleep.
Yeah,
Civilization 3.
You can sink countless hours.
All right, so I've got it tallied. So the definitive top 10 franchises of all time as made by the Save Point Vids crew. Number 10, Kingdom Hearts. Number 9 is Halo. Number 8 is Grand Theft Auto. Then we have a two-way tie for Pokemon and Call of Duty for the 7 and 6 spot, or the 7 and 7 spot. Then we have...
Or the 6 and 6 spot.
Or the 6 and 6 spot, yeah.
Combinations are endless.
And then we have... 10, 9... Wait.
What are you looking for? 5th?
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's see if 5th is a tie for 4th.
Oh, it's up here. Oh. Number 5 is Uncharted. Sorry, number 5 is Uncharted. Number 4 is Suikoden. Number 3 is Metal Gear Solid. Number 2 is Zelda. And your number 1 franchise of all time is Final Fantasy.
Yay! Final Fantasy nerds rejoice.
So there you guys have it. It is the definitive top 10 franchises of all time.
Anybody who's been listening to us since the beginning shouldn't be surprised at all that Final Fantasy is number 1.
Chunky.
Let us know what you guys think. Tweet at me at SavePointJosh. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong. I'll tell you you're wrong anyway, but we can have that discussion. And yeah, just let me know what you guys think. And then we are going to finish off just like we did last week with a little bit of trivia. So
you have another piece of paper.
Now, we can do it one of two ways. So we can do it like we did last week, where you guys write down the answer, and if you get it right, you get a point. Obviously, if not,
like Jeopardy, who rings in first.
Or we can do Jeopardy, where whoever rings in first has the chance to answer. If they get it wrong, then the other person has a chance to steal. What do you guys want to do?
We'll do the Jeopardy way. Yeah, that's more fun.
So what I want you guys to do is
Make a high-pitched sound when we're ready.
just knock on the table. Just knock on the table. Now, I will say that you can cut me off if you think you know the answer. However, you cannot ask me to repeat the question if you do cut me off. And if
we get it wrong, the other person can hear
and then the other
end of it.
person will actually be able to hear the whole question. All right? Again,
It's just your ego talking.
we broke it up into 3 categories, tier 1, 2, 3, and 3. Each tier is worth that amount of points, and then we have a bonus question or a final question at the very end. All right?
Keep score, my score also
Yes. So,
somewhere.
all right. Sean, you are the reigning 2-week champion.
Whoa.
Oh,
Was it?
no, it wasn't Ty last week. I'm sorry.
last week.
You guys both ended up with nothing.
I'm still reigning.
But he really didn't win because he put Uncharted.
That's true. All right.
Whatever, you can go first.
All right, so you go first. We'll let you go first anyway.
All right.
You have tier 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 questions for each tier.
2.
All right. The elusive man in Mass Effect 2 is voiced by which famous actor?
Is it?
4.
Is it Martin Sheen?
Martin Sheen is correct.
I knew that. When you said, I'm like, that's right. Martin Sheen,
That's
those
correct.
two.
That was number 2. All right.
Too good at this, Chase. We'll go number 1.
You won, so you get to pick again. All right. The trilogy of the trilogy of Grand Theft Auto games on the PS2 each featured a different city for its main setting. What are the names of each of the cities?
Damn.
I know it's Liberty City, and then, you got San Andreas. Is that not the name of the city?
Oh, I'm glad I went first.
3, 2, 1.
The only one I know is Liberty City then.
Would you like to steal?
Nope.
So it's Liberty City, Vice City, and Los Santos.
Los Santos. I knew that.
I wouldn't have
Because it's in the 5th one too.
All right. Back to you. You get to pick.
Let's do 2 again.
This one I put as tier 2. It might even be tier 3. I'm not going to lie to you now that I look at it. In the original BioShock, many themes and elements are heavily inspired by which author?
I lose my points if I get it wrong, right?
No, we'll do that next time. I didn't think about that.
I don't really read all that much, so.
4.
Is it that one dude?
I mean, you got a knock too. So if you don't know it,
No, I don't know.
okay. Ayn Rand. It's a woman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I never even heard that name before in my life.
All right. Yeah.
She did the one book.
She did Atlas Shrugged. It's her
Atlas. Yeah, that sucks, but it's really important.
I never heard of that.
All right, back to you. Pick one.
3.
Steve Buscemi, the actor.
Let's picture his face.
The actor Steve Buscemi lended his voice to which Final Fantasy project?
What? Final Fantasy 15.
That is incorrect. Would you like to steal? Steve Buscemi lended his voice to which Final Fantasy project?
I can't remember the name, but I know it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
What is it?
Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Okay, I would have been wrong. Then.
Final Fantasy: The
It
Spirits.
was the movie. I always forget that.
I thought maybe it was the other, the one with Aaron Paul. I guess not.
Aaron Paul was in a Final Fantasy game?
No, the movie, the Final Fantasy 15 movie thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, yeah. That.
I don't know if it was a full movie.
Back to you.
Yeah, it was.
1. I'm good. Yeah, these are hard.
When Resident Evil came to the United States, the game was changed. The name of the game was changed from this.
Biohazard.
Biohazard is correct.
Lucky guess.
All right, your pick.
We'll do 1. That's the only one I've gotten so far is a 1.
Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube featured which Nintendo character?
Link.
Link is correct.
I didn't remember that.
All right. We have one question from tier 2 and 2 questions from tier 3.
We'll do a 2.
All right. GTA 5 is one of the best-selling games of all time. It is constantly on the NPD top 10 list to this day. In what year did it originally release?
2013?
2013 is correct.
Dude, that was so a guess. Dude.
No, it was an educated guess, right? It was an educated guess.
Based on what?
2013 is correct. So,
Based on,
a guess.
No.
all right, we have 2 from tier 3.
I'll tell you later.
So,
I'll tell you later what it was based
number
on.
1 or number 2?
1.
In Metal Gear Solid, after the fight with Cyborg Ninja, his
I'm not
true
gonna get
identity
this.
is revealed. Who is it? There's
Gray
one-
Fox.
Gray Fox is correct.
Chase is like the biggest Metal Gear Solid nerd ever, man. I'm not gonna keep up with that.
And the final question. Which actor who started his career in the WWE was heavily rumored to star as Marcus Phoenix in the Gears of War movie?
Batista?
Batista is correct.
I was going to say that too. Whatever, I still won. 7
Well,
to
we
5.
got final Jeopardy.
I forgot about Final Jeopardy.
All right, so I don't know how to tell you what category it's in, so I'm just going to tell you to wager your points.
It's in the gaming. Okay. 3. That would put me in the lead, right?
Yeah.
Unless you bet more. And
Oh, well, let's do it this way. Put down your wager in your phones.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good point. They don't reveal the wager until the end. Good. You're spitting everywhere.
Yeah, all over my face.
okay. Well, aren't you just on your
Wait, I'm thinking.
Yes.
You're spitting everywhere. Oh, thank you.
Making it rain, making it rain.
All right, you guys got your wagers?
Yeah.
All right.
When you enunciate, Chase, you spit.
I need to. Yeah, because we're putting it, like writing it down, then revealing both, right?
Yes. So this one you will type into your phone
Okay.
with your wagers. You will have 10 seconds. It's a very not simple question, but I mean it's simple. What was the first video game played in outer space? What is the first video game played in outer space? 10, 9, 8,
I don't know.
7.
This is a guess.
When did we go to
6.
space?
5,
69?
4.
No, they didn't
That's
have
when we went
games.
to the moon, man.
3,
We went to space for a long time.
1.
Oh,
Phones down. What was your guess?
Tetris.
I put asteroids.
Tetris is correct.
Was it a Russian dude?
In 1993, aboard the Soyuz TM-17 rocket
It was a Russian. Damn.
to the MIR space station, where it was played by Russian cosmonaut Alexander Severov.
Go to
I bet 3 points, so I have 10. Sean, you bet 3, so you have 2.
All right, we have a new champion. Video game Jeopardy.
I like this format.
You like this one better?
Yeah,
Okay,
I like
so
this
we'll
format.
keep this one. What do we want to do next week on our top 10?
I want to do something different, more like hardware, maybe.
Top 10 hardware?
Yeah.
So is it just consoles or consoles handheld, just hardware? PC can't be included. PC's automatically
I wouldn't put
disqualified.
PC on mine anyways. I don't play PC games, really.
I'm pretty sure the camera died. So
Okay.
It's just audio
it
only.
might be audio only. So next week we will do top 10 pieces of hardware, not counting the PC because that's cheating because it always evolves.
Right.
So yeah, top 10 hardware. Again, check us out. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Follow us on all major podcast platforms. Just search the Save Point Vids podcast. Do you guys have any closing comments?
No, I do not.
All right, guys. Until next time, everybody stay safe.